And there we go. So now you'll have an idea what we're talking about while we're talking about it. So this is Wildstar, right?
Yeah, Mike took care of business this time. Well done. Real quick, let's fire
so
up the other video.
this is the new MMO coming out that I've been looking forward to a lot, actually.
Again, the idea of telegraphs,
Galleon's been kind of looking forward to it as well for different reasons.
So what we did is we had made this sort of in-house video.
They've just started doing a lot of press releases about it, but they do basically, it's a telegraph related combat system with action RPG elements.
That do less damage, but as the game progresses, as you get higher levels, they begin to change in difficulty.
So you can see kind of like how the whole telegraph system works based on this and tells you where it's going to go. And I think the ripples in them have a timer related function where it's not just like ripples for ripples' sake, but the ripples actually have some kind of like, the pulses mean how the damage is going to come out. I'm going to get rid of Gal's camera thing. There's no point.
You'll see really large indicators, which means you have to move very fast or be hit by the attack. There's randomly placed
turning the system down. So, I mean, like, I think this is honestly where the MMOs are going to be going in the future, because a lot of people are used to the whole idea of, okay, let's stand still and kill something, blah, 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 blah. Let's just stand and do whatever. And don't really worry about dodging. Guild Wars 2 kind of dabbled in it, but I don't think they did it really well. The combat didn't feel like it had that much impact, and the dodging mechanics in that game were not very well implemented. I never felt like I was actually dodging, right? Yeah, it looks exactly the same as Neverwinter. A lot of, and Terra for that matter too. Terra doesn't do much different either.
And so when it's fighting you, it spews out this honey. And if you're running through that honey at any point, it slows you down, right? So if you happen to be in any one of these spots,
so he's saying,
because you've hit the honey, then you get damaged.
So that's an interesting little mechanic. So like, not only is there going to be telegraphs, there's going to be things in the environment that are going to slow you down, speed you up, make you slip, whatever, that are going to actually affect it. Like, I'm thinking about this from an endgame raider perspective, right? Like, there's this game, right? But the game is like, the game doesn't just have this whole telegraph system. Like, Neverwinter, for the most part, is traps and telegraph things. I know, Frostville, I know. Extremely smart guy. No, but like the whole idea behind... Let me turn off this camera, Gal. Sorry, guys. Totally forgot she wasn't there. She's forgettable. Teehee. Not really. Alright. Okay. Close my volume mixer out. Okay, so... the whole idea that, like, this is taking it a step further. I'm thinking of it from an endgame rating perspective, where we're going to have 20 to 40 people sitting in an instance trying to kill a boss, where there's going to be a lot of shit that you need to dodge and do. And they said that in this game they're going to do the Holy Trinity, aka there's going to be a tank role where you need to maintain threat, although how they're going to make it is that a lot of classes are going to be able to fill the tank role. But it's going to be like, you know, instead of it being like warrior paladin or warrior... whatever, like only having 2 valid or 3 valid tanking roles, a lot of the classes are going to have a valid taking aspect. I don't know how they're going to balance that, but they're going to have a Holy Trinity in this game. So I'm thinking about it in terms of World of Warcraft, but you know how you constantly have to move out of the circle effects, move out of the blowing up, move out of the bullshit stuff. It's going to be like that, but it's going to involve a dodging mechanic and an action RPG where you're going to have to worry about your cleave and where you're going to be hitting things. And seeing things like this where they're also going to have the environment affect you, plus have the little, like, you know, shit on the ground that you have to get out of, looks pretty cool. I mean, I can see a raid boss, honestly, having similar mechanics to this, and the only difficulty of it being that the entire raid can't get hit by it. You're going to get slowed down by this honey. The honey will last on you for X amount of seconds. It could probably fuck you over hard. And if the circles are large enough, if you don't have a dodge available, you're not going to be able to get out of the circle in time. It's going to do massive damage to you, and you're going to end up dying. A lot of the things in this game, too, World of Warcraft has been argued that right now, and I would agree with this, right now the whole game challenge in strategy centers around the fact that you have to use cooldown stacking. Cooldowns. You have to make sure that on number 1 ability you have X cooldown available, on number 2 ability you have Y cooldown available, on number 3 you have Z. If you don't have the cooldowns available, you won't live through the phase, you won't get through the next part. That was true on Twin Consorts, that's true on Iron Khan, that's true on a lot of the bosses on this tier and lately. And hello, DDL area. So when I look at these videos and I'm watching how they're gonna change these things, I think they acknowledge that a lot people don't really like having to work on cooldown management. They want to actually play their character and not have to worry about doing an ability at a certain time, using a certain cooldown, making sure a certain cooldown exists in the raid. I don't really know how they're going to do the end game to make it, appeal to the... They're trying to appeal to the 1%ers in World of Warcraft and the 40-mans, where it's basically like, we have a 40-man raid, and we're going to make it so that only the 1% can do it. AKA, it's going to be Naxxramas 40 in complexity. I mean, some people, that makes them really excited.
Place to be, but you'll have this blue indicator which may tell you that's beneficial. So you can actually start to pick different combinations of location in order to get through these encounters.
Okay, that's cool. Like, you can intentionally try, maybe they didn't make it to the point where you can, stack up one area ability with the other. Honestly, I'm pretty new to this whole idea of like telegraph effects on ground kind of deal. I'm not really used to the whole aspect of using it to put Wildstar full screen over World of Warcraft. I guess I could do that. Hold on, how would I do that? I guess do that, pull this over here. Give me a sec. I gotta figure out how I would exactly accomplish this. And still show you guys what you want to see. So if I did this, what would it do? That looks good. Yeah, no one needs to see me standing in front. I agree. Okay, I got it working now.
Sort of having multiple layers of these indicators. So you have a standard red indicator that tells you this is a bad place to be, but you'll have this blue indicator which may tell you that's beneficial. So yeah, beneficial and not beneficial area. So you see some guy fighting in a beneficial area. I don't know who's casting inside a beneficial area, but you can see someone's this guy's jutting a freaking thing to the ground in this red circle. It's basically like it's going to be an explosion area. You don't want to get out of it, but there's a blue area where you can stand in it and it's going to help you. It might be in certain cases, in certain scenarios, you cannot avoid a certain telegraph. You cannot get out of it, no matter if you want to or don't want to. So there might be an aspect where you're going to have to line up a beneficial thing on top of a negative telegraph or a negative circle in order for your raid to survive. I could see that being implemented in a lot of ways. And I know that as long as they make sure that they have the latency tuned for to make sure that people from Oceania, people from other parts of the world who are trying to play on pings that are higher than 400, as long as they account for that kind of latency, which I think they're going to do, you can have it basically be like a Heigen dance where it's like the whole room is one bad area minus like 2 spaces on the corner, but that's not good because you can't DPS the boss from the corners, are too far away. So what do you got to do? You got to have the tank, or you have to have someone in the raid, like a DPSer, like knock down something from the wall and it'll put down a safe area for you to go on. It's a blue area. You can stand on top of the bad telegraph. It's going to hit you. It's going to kill you if you're not in the good area. But if you're on the blue area, it'll help save your ass. So you can actually start to pick different combinations of location.
So you can see right there, there's this giant freaking like... the thing behind it's doing that cast.
In order to get through these encounters. Here's sort of just an example of a standard encounter with multiple mobs. You do that quite a bit in Wildstar. Here's sort of just an example of a standard.
So that looks like it's a really pain in the ass ability. I don't know why you'd want to have an ability where it's like super close range, super effective, and then they're like 5 yards away. It's going to be pinpointed on one person. If they move, they strafe. It's a net negative for you. I guess it's a negative for the person if they get too close to you, but for anything at range, that ability is painful bad. And there's this X, I think is environmental.
With multiple mobs, you do that quite a bit in Wildstar. There's a lot of movement associated with that. But the thing to take away from this, the thing that we've really been focusing on a lot as...
So look at how many freaking bad areas there. Like that to me is just like cool. Like this is like this ground effect right now. Stuff that you wouldn't honestly see unless you're in a raid environment. Like think about this. How many times would you see on a solo encounter monster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 areas in a cone where you cannot stand without getting yourself killed. I can think of it maybe in a couple scenarios and a couple special bosses or special ads that you actually have to pay this much attention to where you're standing in World of Warcraft. It's partially the reason why World of Warcraft is so easy to level on and level up in, because there's not really much you have to react to. I mean, there's going to be monsters casting at you. There's going to be monsters, being a douchebag and using some kind of special ability that you have to stand out of. But
as we've been developing our combat system, is we want it to be unique.
There's no need.
And we want it to be different than your standard.
There's no real need to move
we want
when
it
you're
to be
questing.
Challenging for the player and something that's always fun and always different. I don't know if you guys have been following us, but told us what they are, and then
you're gonna show something else besides this one
really
picture of this.
The basics, right? That's the foundation.
Like that's just intense. Like to say that you're. I mean, I'm assuming these are like average encounters are going to be happening when you go one-on-one against a monster in the wild, right? You're going to have these massive, like, there are layered areas where you can get your ass kicked. And I don't know how much it's going to hurt you, per se, when you're actually doing the actual encounter, but it seemed interesting. Yeah, double jump's going to be fun.
And again,
it's all how they balance it, honestly.
During this demo, but our hope with all of these additions to our combat system is that it's something that's different than what that players have seen up to this point.
Have any of you guys played Terra, late game Neverwinter?
We will move back here.
Terra, Neverwinter, late game Guild Wars 2. That can say if this is like indicative of most recent games. All this is brand new to me. I've never touched a game that has this kind of stuff in it. I honestly have never touched this stuff.
Makes you lighter than air as you get close to it. So there's this.
Yeah, this game actually does a lot of physics-related crazy shit where it's not where you just get like a random boost. It's like
very fun to do this.
There's apparently going to be
allows Mike to get places that he couldn't normally.
There's going to be areas in outer space that have half gravity, right? So the whole world, the whole area is going to be jumpy, jump.
Cliffs if you decide to go up there, but this is an example of what we call a dynamic play space. So. There's regular play spaces that just have hostile mobs, and every once in a while I'll do a dynamic play space that changes up the game.
That's good. So like right now in Neverwinter, I'm like
another example of
same
one of these
shit.
Play spaces. This is
Mines?
A minefield. So Mike will go here and he'll scare a couple of sheep, and he can use it to blow the sheep up. But he can also use that to his advantage against more powerful enemies. So over here, there's a group of space pirates. They're actually the guys that set this minefield up in the first place.
Space pirates.
So he'll engage these guys. And then he can draw them out into the minefield, and as long as he doesn't get blown up himself, he can use it as a benefit in combat.
Now, if they actually go about doing this right, I think that's a lot of. Why would you be a GWF? There's no reason to Frostfell. So the whole concept of the fact that they actually planned, like, why would they not plan? They didn't have the technology for it probably at the time when they released the game. These guys are planning on you actually using environmental effects and environmental triggers to actually do your quests. I cannot think of more than 2 quests in World of Warcraft that you can actually use environmental shit to benefit you. There's a lot of things where you have to use a special gun or a special staff or a special item, where if you push a button and something in your inventory, it'll trigger a shield or break down a shield or do something to an area where it'll blow up in a giant AoE where it'll actually kill monsters. But this actually has things in the environment specifically tuned to kill things, and it doesn't just kill the quest mob that you're supposed to kill. It's not like you can't use it on that target. It's like, here's a mine. It can kill you. It can kill a sheep, or it can kill these pirates, or whatever the fuck else you drag to it.
Do you guys know about our path system?
Thank you, Blanco.
Have you followed that at all? Okay. So Along with your race class choice that you normally have in MMOs, we have given you the choice of what's known as a path. And there are 4 paths in our game. There's an explorer, a scientist, a soldier, and a settler. And each one of those...
Okay, so the path system, if you guys aren't aware of how the path system is, it is kind of built around the aspect that there's 4 types of players, 4 different kinds, and I forget what they call it. 4 types of... This is total, the Bartle test, there you go. So there's this theory that every MMO is centered around 4 different kinds of players. And they can be somewhere within the spectrum, and they can kind of share different aspects. They can be like on, one half of the spectrum or one other half, vertically or horizontally. But there's going to be killers, people who just want to kill shit. There's going to be people who want to be competitive and stuff like that, to kill things, and they want to be able to be the best at it, right? There's achievers, achievement systems, people who want to collect E-points, invisible points, like points that don't really affect anything, but, like I discovered all the areas, I explored the whole map, I collected all the battle pets, I did everything I can do. Socializers that just sit around in the shrine like I am right now and just talk to people in whispers. And there's explorers who want to go out and see what there is in the world that's hidden. It's different from the person that's an achiever, because the explorer kind of overlaps. The achiever wants to finish, finding all the world areas. But, what do you call it? The explorer is more about finding the secret parts. Achiever is like, I want to finish all of it. I want to do everything. I want to make sure I achieve something, right? But the explorer is more like, I want to find shit that you can't do if you're a normal player and you didn't put the time into it. I want to jump somewhere that you couldn't normally go. I want to find a secret area that no one else knows about. I want to find that gravestone in Daenerys. I want to find how the person jumped to the top of the highest building in Stormwind before there was flying mounts. That's the theory behind the Bartle test, which is what basically the path system is in Carbine. This game, Wildstar.
Paths sort of represents a different play style. So in the case of an explorer, we're going to send you to sort of challenging places, right? In this particular case, we're sending you up to this top of this little mountain, and you're going to set out what's known as a vista beacon. So you'll see down here, Mike is getting a
they're
signal.
going to have vistas, ironically, which is very
When he gets
Guild Wars
to
2-esque.
signal, he'll spawn this vista beacon.
Okay.
And then
I love the
he's
animation of these
rewarded
things.
with a cinematic where he sort of gets the lay of
So
the
this is
land.
like literally
Now
Guild
he's
Wars
gotten
2,
up
right?
To this point, we're going to
This is
show
Guild
you,
Wars 2
some of the
to a
things that
T
may
right
be
now.
coming up.
You go to a vista, quote
At the end of
unquote,
this
it's somewhere on the map. It's
we point
kind of hard to get
another
to.
place that might be cool to explore.
And,
so there's this cave.
You put down an item. Instead of
Cave
clicking a
might
button
have
at a
some
shiny
ancient
thing,
elven
you put down an
technology
item and a
or
shiny thing,
powerful creature.
and it
But,
will give you a
the
nice
takeaway
view of
here
the
is
area.
that when you've chosen your path, we're going to direct you to content that is customly designed for that particular playstyle. So if you're a soldier, you're going to be doing a lot more fighting. You'll get a lot more soldier missions. We haven't talked a lot about the scientists.
This game comes out around
yet,
November.
but there'll be more information about that coming up soon.
End of the year, 2013.
Okay, so we're going to just show you a quick example.
They don't know how they're going to
of
monetize yet.
standard
They're deciding between,
in Wildstar.
pay to
Mike's
buy
gonna
or
engage
pay to
these
play,
guys. These guys are known as the
which
Dark
is
Sword Cartel.
you buy the game and you can play it
And they're sort of the
subscription based,
organized
where it's
crime
probably going to be less
syndicate
than World of
our,
Warcraft, but still
of
higher
our
than
game.
free,
So
and maybe even a
start
free to
out with an
play.
opening
But
attack.
that's why it's really difficult to do.
And
probably going to be
then
released
what
after
you'll notice,
BlizzCon.
right, as Mike gets through this encounter is, these guys have a number of different attacks, right? And a number of different telegraphs that they're laying down through that. What that means is Mike is moving around a lot. He's picking his locations based on where those guys are located and based on places, where the threat indicators are telling him not to be.
So that's actually kind of cool. Like I like. So if you're looking at what they were doing early in this encounter, see if I can find a good example.
What you'll
of it. Hold on.
notice, right, as Mike gets through this encounter is, these guys have a number of different
So they're
attacks,
tuning
right?
this fight. They're tuning these ads. They're tuning these whole packs, right? Among the assumption that you're going to be pulling at least 3 to 4 at a time, which is really cool because honestly, I can see this game being really freaking boring if you're pulling one at a time. It's like, oh, I have one thing I have to avoid. I have one environmental thing I have to get out of. I have one thing I have to pay attention to. Part of the fun and part of the intensity that will keep leveling interesting especially for your first, second, third characters, is the fact that you actually have to pay attention to what the fuck you're doing. It keeps you actually engaged. It doesn't feel like an MMO. It feels more like an actual single-player game where it's tuned. As long as I know how to tune it so it doesn't feel too punishing, where you have to literally sit down for 5 minutes after every single pull, it makes it super inefficient and rewards you for playing extremely well at dodging, at standing out of the environmental things. This X, I'm pretty sure, is a cannon somewhere on the level. They were talking about it in some other video, right? Then this little cone inside the X is the guy's actual punch thing, and there's another ad that he's got next to him who's just his melee attacks, which is not telegraphed at all. And then out in the corner, he's going to pull the other guy.
Telegraphs that they're laying down through that.
Who's firing a shotgun at the guy.
Mike is moving around a lot.
And he's lining up, so he's hitting two at once.
Based on where those guys are located and based on places, you know, where the threat indicators are telling him not to be. Like I said before, this is going to be a standard encounter type where you're engaging multiple mobs and you're using these new and creative.
And it has auto loop right out the bat.
Another way that he could have gotten past this if he wanted to, if he was a stealth class, let's say, he could sneak in here and activate this crate of rockets. And so if there were hostile mobs here in this...
So this is you. You're actually able to activate things in the environment that will destroy the camps that you have to kill for you. So, I mean, obviously what this is going to do is probably not enable it so that, you know, one monster is effectively like, you know, 1% of your level. Killing 100 monsters ends up being 100% of your level. These monsters are probably going to end up to be not that much, because if you're killing monsters like fodder in the environments are allowing you to use these giant explosive things to kill like entire camps, and they don't want the spawn rates to be too low. There's like I imagine this game's gonna be very centered around doing objective-based questing and actually doing the quests and not worrying so much about the fact that you're killing the monsters. The monsters are like the part to complete it and to kill it and to be done and to finish the quest. But the actual XP, the actual character progression, seems like it's gonna be more from the actual doing the game, doing the actual objectives. Hey, wet finger.
They would get blown up by those rockets, and it's just another way for him to get past that particular encounter.
That's my point of view, because they're making all these effects. It's like
a real quick note about
you couldn't kill 8 things at once, right?
How we design our levels. So
and expect it to be balanced XP.
You know, because this is going to be a
sit
new
there
place
farming
for
all
players,
day.
We don't want them to come to these zones and get lost, right? So one of the philosophies that we adhere to in our level design is we'd like to give people...
Before I go too far, guys, I'm going to update this thing, because you guys are probably like, what the hell is Curry doing?
I had like 3 missed calls from my grandma.
Fine. I'm going to update that.
Unique subzones and really large and visible POIs and landmarks so that they can try.
Well, see, they're going to be doing raid content. I don't think they've announced much about it, but it definitely is going to be a big focus for them.
Which is the zone we're in now. You've got this sort of
specifically to that point, Tobin, the one thing that they say constantly is that their endgame is where they're putting most of their attention. Like all these beginning games, what they're testing right now, because this is the first impression a lot of people are going to get about the game. But their current philosophy regarding this whole system, the whole game itself, is like the best way to burn your money is to make a game and neglect the end game variety. Because what you need to have at the end game for people to stay interested in your game, to retain players after they've blasted through your content, which if you're like SWTOR and think it's going to take them, 3 months, and then you actually get there within 48 hours and they have nothing to fucking do, it's like, well, guess what? Now these people who love your game a lot and absorbed it at a ridiculously fast rate are going to be bored as shit. And they have nothing to do. And they're going to do the same 5 things over and over every single day, realize they are totally wasting their life away on it. And, yeah, it's always been a very bad end-game model in a lot of MMOs in the past couple of years. It's always it's killed the majority of games, I would say, that have potential. WoW is going to kill itself. Like, honestly, I have no qualms to think for a second that WoW is going to be around even after WoW is not the leading MMO. I mean, EverQuest is still around, Ultima Online is still fucking around, both those games were the #1 games of their respective communities in the, or like of the MMO genre in its heyday, right? What's this person saying? Hold on. Okay, sorry. Someone in game was talking. I wanted to see what they're saying. I need to get chat back up though. Okay. So the only thing that's really going to kill WoW in the end of the day, I broke it,
You've got this sort of
is World of Warcraft. I don't see WoW killing itself, or anything killing WoW. I see WoW killing itself. And the reason they lost 1.5 million subscribers, I feel, is because of increased competition over in China. There's a lot of games that came out. WoW is showing its age. It's not as fun to play anymore for a lot of people because it's so old and been out for a long time. So well, I say WoW will kill itself in the sense that WoW won't be able to actually change its core game, and will just, you know, continue to be WoW long past the point where the majority of players want to play World of Warcraft. Like, people will just be like, I'm not interested in that gameplay anymore, and this other game interests me more, so I want to go play that game now. So in that sense, WoW's going to kill itself because they can't just make World of Warcraft and suddenly turn it into Terra, and they can't suddenly turn it into Wildstar. They can't change the whole combat mechanisms. They'd have to release an entirely new game. So World of Warcraft will continue on its path, doing what it does, doing how it does it, right? But it's not going to change it so significantly that it will like actually make WoW reinvigorated. I personally really like WoW. I like how the combat works. I'm very used to it. I'm very good at it, I think. I'm not the world's best, but I'm good enough where I think that I'm pretty damn competent. And I understand a lot of how the thing works, how the game works. Yeah, and like, I think even after Titan's long out and long in people's hands, WoW will still exist and be out there. It might one day have to go to the free to play / you know, like buy to play model where you're going to have to pay the full price of ticket of the admission price to get in. But I can definitely see WoW continuing for a long damn time. Anyway, moving along. Oh, shit. So, going back to Tobin, I totally got sidetracked. They're making this game around the 1% of raiders in the endgame. They're focusing on them, but they're also focusing on 20-mans, which apparently are going to be the not quite 1%, but still the raiding-oriented people. So there's the Yu, Juka, Traherne, 1%, top 100, gotta be the fucking best 40-man raids they're designing for, right? And then there's going to be 20-mans, which are not going to be as serious. And those are going to be more towards like people like us who don't have the intense time or the intense amount of dedication to dedicate to actually progressing in the game, but still want to see the raid content. And as I understand it, 20-mans and 40-mans are going to be different content. The mentality, the philosophy behind it, which I don't personally agree with and doesn't jive with me, is the fact that people want to have something to always strive to, right? Now the 1% just want to be the 1%. They want to be the best. They're the killers in that four-way graph. They're like, I want to be that motherfucking #1 person. I want to be on the top of the WoW Progress or Wildstar Progress page. I want to be the best person there can be. So for them, that's what they're striving for, right? And they'll probably achieve it, or if they don't achieve it, they'll be 2nd or 3rd place. They'll be like, next patch, next instance, we're getting that 1st place prize. We're so damn close. We fucked up. Get your shit together, everybody. We're coming back. But then in 20-man areas or the not even rating areas, people are looking at these 40-man 1%ers and they're being like, wow, that looks really hard. That looks really difficult to do. That's really amazing. I wish I could do that. I want to do that. So Carbine's saying, like, even though WoW and a lot of games have been designing it so that everyone can do the content in the game that exists, like, they're not having any blockages like they used to have, where it's like, if you don't have 40 people, you can't go do Molten Core. If you don't... what's a good recent example? WoW has always had the same content available. They don't make separate instances for different sizes. They stopped doing that around TBC. So it's really hard to make the same equivalents, right? Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do 40 mans. I imagine it'll eventually turn into 2010s, 20 mans, 10 mans, as they kind of progress through the game. But it's an interesting philosophy. I don't agree with it. I think that they should, based on the fact that you're spending this dev time, right, to make an instance. Now, assuming that the instance was shared and it's like 20 and 40 of the same location, kind of like, you have Ice Crown Citadel, and you had 10 men, 25 men, different eye level gear dropped from each. And it kind of like said, okay, 10 men are casual, 25 men are where the actual rating's at. Why? Because the eye level's higher in 25 men. You get better gear. It looks the same, but it's higher eye level. It's more powerful gear. Therefore, the best players are playing 25 mans because they want to have the best gear. They want to have the strongest characters. They're the killers. They're the achievers. They want to do the best. They want to be the best. But the problem is, World of Warcraft's now where it's like you can be 10 or 25, same gear, same achievements, same everything. Play how you want, do it how you want. There's no real wonder. You can't say like, oh man, I wish I was 25 man. Because what's there to want? If you aren't 25 man, you can still get the same gear. You can still get the same achievement. You can still do the same content. It's different strategies, yes. It's different amount of coordination you need to do, yes. But like WoW decided, people just don't like the logistics of it. People don't like having to set up class officer roles, class leaders, raid leaders managing 5 different groups. It's easier to do 2 groups, right? But now what they're doing with Wildstar is they're saying, okay, we're going to have 20 man be like Zul'Gurub, and we're going to have 40 man be Molten Core. They are totally different areas. Zul'Gurub ain't Molten Core. Molten Core is not Zul'Gurub. Zul'Gurub is 20 man. It's its own instance. It's its own art assets. It's its own story. It's its own raid line, right? 40 man, Molten Core, is its own area, its own bosses, its own everything. So it's a significantly different thing. I think it's more interesting and more important to like maybe have a truncated instance of the Ice Crown Citadel where you only get to see half the bosses, and like have bosses that aren't as difficult in the 20-man version of Ice Crown Citadel, but the 40-man gets the full instance, all the bosses, all the abilities, all the difficulty. That way you have the team focusing on making better instances, better raids, because unless they have some really fucking amazing encounter designers and can code and design circles around the WoW team, the fact that WoW's only been able to put out 1 raid every 6 months, and these guys want to have 4 separate raids, the 40 mans being for the 1%, the people that like are super fucking hardcore serious business, don't fuck with us, we are doing stuff that you can't even imagine putting together. That seems like a really waste of time and a real waste of resources. I do feel like the Wildstar devs are going to have to cave. I don't think that this is the one point. I don't think it's going to have the same impact that the Carbine devs are thinking it's going to have. Although, you know what? They want to try it. I give them credit. Now, the other endgame aspect that they're going to have is the player housing, right? So they're going to say, okay, you don't want to do raiding, you don't want to do PvP, you don't want to be competitive, that's fine. Go make a house. Design a house. Make your house freaking awesome. Don't be like Curry's house where the walls are all one color, have no posters on them, have no decorations whatsoever. Have a real house. Have like a poster back there, have a bar, have a chair, have some rugs, have some painted walls, have some other random shit. Outside of your house, design what the outside looks like. Make it 3 stories tall. Make an awning. Have a crafting patio out there. Have training dummies out there. You're going to have a lot of stuff around the actual environment of the house that you can customize. And you can basically save up for. So the people who are social have that endgame to look forward to on top of the auction house, on top of questing and dailies. I don't know why you'd want to do that. I hate dailies, but they keep designing them because people do them, obviously, right? And then you're going to have the auction house endgame with people who want to just make money. You're going to have the PvP endgame. Now, this is where they're going to try and be competitive. They're building in esports things to the game off the bat. They're not high priority. I'm still dubious, honestly, because Guild Wars 2 always talked about how they wanted to make their PvP arena, PvP endgame esports friendly and esports optimized, where it's going to have like, you know, a ghost camera, a ghost character account in all the games and stuff like that, and they're going to have scoreboards that are easily readable, and they're going to have like, you know, spectator systems and stuff like that that they're going to support. They never ended up doing any of that stuff. The scene never developed, which was really depressing, because it has so much potential, and ArenaNet knew there was a huge PvP potential there, and they ended up dropping the ball on that. But so like right now they're planning on having these things called war plots, which apparently what it happens is a guild or a team of a lot of people get together and they amass resources, they amass things, right? And they go to this area, this plot of land, and they make a base. And the base itself, here, hold on. I want to see if they have any war plots content. I want to talk about this for a second. If they have a video of it, that'd be amazing. I don't think they do though. I'm pretty sure war plots are just conceptual at this point. Nope, that guy is just talking out his butt. That's Gamebreaker TV. I guess technically they're... The best thing I can show, I guess, is their...
Space-time thirsty is big guns and bullets.
Okay, this is their trailer.
Magical spells. You'll be cracking skulls and making corpses in no time. Well, stakes not high enough for you?
Okay, this is going to be a war plot. The building behind you is not a building, according to how they're describing it. It's not a building that you actually, not a building that they are going to have in the world that's already pre-made. It's not a building that one person makes. It's going to be guild or team crafted. And you're going to be able to actually make the base yourself. You're going to have obviously some boundaries of how wide you can make it, how tall you can make it, probably how many units, like how many cannons you can put into it. But it's going to be like, you got to farm it up, you got to farm the points for it, you got to farm the money for it, whatever you got to farm up for it, and you can make it. And they're going to have mass teams go in and you can siege each other's bases to take it over. And they're going to be matched up by battle groups. And yeah, what is it called again? What's the matchmaking thing? EL something.
Then you and some of your most bloodthirsty friends should double down and buy a war plot. Then outfit it with enough firepower to blow off.
So that's someone building a cannon, right? They're building something inside their war plot so they can actually fight better. They have cannons laid up on the side.
And the space-time continuum. When your death fortress
I'm trying to actually explain what the concept of the game is.
is complete, go to war against your enemies and earn rewards so epic your head will explode like a supernova. Boom.
So yeah, like basically, it's like World versus World. It's like I don't want to say, I never played it before, so I can't say if it is or not. But Dark Age of Camelot, where you're doing castle sieges. I can't really think of a game that I ever played that had castle sieges, but basically what they're going to do is they're going to match up war plot against war plot, similar ranked players versus similar ranked players, and you're going to try and trounce each other's bases in PvP style.
Taming a hostile alien world ain't gonna be easy.
So that's that. So they're going to have war plots available, and they're going to have arena available for the PvP players.
Wooded Valley here. It's one of the only places in Augrok
Yeah,
where there's
Paul
this many
Barnett actually got me
trees.
really excited too.
Over to the
That's
right,
the worst part.
We've got the loft.
It felt so cheaty when it came out.
Before. You've got the
Again,
loftside
the art
cliffs,
style of this,
which are
and the fact that they're when they're
themselves.
demoing
There's
it,
a sort of
it doesn't
snowy
look like it's
valley
like
up here
a
where
shitty,
we've got some bootleggers you'll have
not
to
very
deal
well
with at
designed
some
game. I
point.
love the styling of
And
this game.
then right in the middle
It
of the
looks
valley
like
is,
the WoW team did the
town
art
of
style, and that's
Galloway,
not a bad thing to me.
which
I
is
like
sort
how
of
WoW looks.
central,
I like the
sort of
styling of
central
World of
place for you
Warcraft.
to do your
If they can make a
buying and selling
sci-fi
and
themed
things like trade
World of
skills.
Warcraft, you will not hear me complain.
Trade
I don't care
skills
if it's not super
are
realistic graphics. Those are
something that
shitty
we've
for
also
computer
been working
specs.
on
It
a
makes
lot
it
since
so you
last
can't have
year.
many players in your
For
MMO
example, we
because
have mining
ultimately
in the game,
your
so,
MMO has to have a lot of players that can play
when
on
you're a
shitty
miner,
laptops
you'll
all the
run
way to
around the
super
world,
mega
there'll be
computers.
mining nodes,
The
you'll
more
attack those
stylized it
nodes,
is,
the ore
the
will
less
pop
you're
out and
demanding
you
people
can
to have good
collect it up.
computers,
But
right?
every once in a while,
But also,
when you go to
as 10
collect
years go
those,
by,
when you go to
and
attack that
it
node,
doesn't
a creature will
matter
spawn.
if the
And that
graphics
creature won't
curve
be too
has
happy
gone
about
up
the fact that you've been
25,000
trying
times,
to-
and like GPUs
to
can handle
steal the
so
ore
much
off
more
its back.
because
And
your
every
art
once in a while,
is
you'll
styled.
run
It's
across
not
what's known as
dependent
an ore
on
worm.
looking super realistic.
And that is this massive creature here,
Cheat chat.
who
I can't
is
right now.
not going to be happy at all that you're
Tell me
trying
what
to
you need.
take the ore off its back. And
Yeah,
so the ore worm has a whole series of different attacks, unique attacks, things that you probably haven't seen up to that point. It can spawn these little ore mites that will also come and attack you, so you'll have to deal with those as you're attacking the
I see
ore worm
crossovers happening in
itself.
World of Warcraft.
You know,
personally.
the thing here is we would consider this sort of epic trade skill content, right? So, but you're never going to be sure when it's going to happen, and so even something like trade skills.
I'm trying to
we
decide
want
what's
that
happening on the
experience to be
bottom of the
memorable
screen.
and something
There's
a little
like
bit
bars. There's a
different
green
than,
bar, blue
than
bar,
players have seen,
pink
in
bar,
other MMOs.
ability bars. That's a lot of abilities too.
All right.
That's a lot more than they have in their normal
just
demos, actually.
behind the town of Gallo is what I would consider
Actually, speaking of
probably the
bars,
most
On their, I'm just gonna do this really quick. I'm gonna put it right back. But on their default UI, they actually don't have 2 bars. They only have 1 bar, and these buttons are actually double the size. So these 4 buttons on the default UI, when you are like a low-level starting out player, actually end up being like 1 button's 4 buttons, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they have their initial bar set up to be 6 buttons because they're gonna try and focus the people's abilities onto a lot smaller of a tool set, but the tool set has a lot larger of a learning curve because what you end up doing in this game is it's not so much you know, having World of Warcraft, where right now I'm looking at it and my World of Warcraft bars. Guys asking me if she wants to go get the clothes. My World of Warcraft game, you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times 3, 36 buttons, 34 of which are being used. And then you compare that to Wildstar, where they're going to have 6, maybe 7 buttons. This is the first time I've ever seen an expanded skill bar, but it only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 24. And he's not even able to fill those up. They're going to give you a lot more truncated abilities, but they're going to have you actually learn to use them really well.
than players have seen.
I like that.
in
I hate
other
having
MMOs.
button overload.
All right. So just
You
behind.
like the fact that you can make
town of
macros,
Gallo
though? I don't. I feel like
is what
macros
I would consider
cheapen the
probably
experience, and it
most
kind of like
unique of all
foddles
the
together some
subzones in
shitty.
Alderaan,
Like, it's nice to have
which
them,
is this
but the fact that you're
archaeological dig,
using them means that something's not
where
being
they
designed
have
very well,
uncovered this
where you
ancient
have to
Elven
automate something
facility
or
and
make
awakened
something
this
work.
Massive robot that we call an annihilator.
Yeah.
The Annihilator obviously
And it's
is not
really bad
very happy
to
about
teach
the
new
fact
players
that
how to
he's
get in the
been
game,
woken up,
because they have to
after
make
it's
all these
been
special add-ons
after
and
1,000
install them and
years, and
configure
so
them
your
and get
adventure
macros
here
and learn a
is going
huge,
to be about
huge
figuring
endgame
out
learning
a
curve.
way to deactivate this and save the archaeologists that are currently under attack. The reason why we think it's important to show things like this at early levels is we want to give you a preview of the kinds of things that you're
So
going
this
to
is
be having
apparently
to
an
deal with
early
at
level
level cap,
zone.
right? So here you don't directly engage the Annihilator, but when you get to level cap and our world story later on, these are the kinds of creatures that you're going to have to be fighting.
So they're actually going to have you against this guy in endgame. I never heard about that before, so that's an interesting little factoid, I guess. But that's actually kind of cool. But like, WoW kind of had this to an extent too. Like, you know, you had when you hit Outland for the first time, you had these giant fell reavers. They were like, bzz, bzz, and the whole screen will boof, boof, and the whole screen would blah, and you'd be shaking. That's what WoW's equivalent to. But when you actually hit 70, and you actually hit level cap in WoW, you were killing those things to get keys for attunement quests. So it definitely it's a similar philosophy that World of Warcraft had. A lot of people liked it. The downside was eventually the content got old. So this really depends on the fact if like they're gonna make this guy be soloable. So when you get to endgame, it doesn't fucking matter if the whole rest of the servers 2 patches down the road, you can still solo him, or if they're gonna make it so that this guy ends up being group only. In which case, I think that's a bad design decision, because if you get to the point where you're trying to kill this guy and the content's long past it, you're never going to kill that guy. But it's cool that they're actually thinking. And one thing that they said was they understand based on the data they've seen that 65%. This is an interesting statistic for me personally because I'm an American player. I'm a Western player rather. Western players when they play MMOs, 65%, well over half, almost 3/4 of the players play content when they're playing solo. So what are they doing in this world? They're making stuff to be mostly, probably 65% worth solo content. They're going to make 35% probably the groups, the dungeons, the raids, the PvP, blah, 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 going to be group content. But for the actual solo content, they're making it, they're respecting the fact that 65% of the players play solo only. So hopefully they're going to take this into account when they make endgame quests. This goes across everything. This goes across from, like leveling up to endgame as well. I mean, I don't do any endgame quests as a group. It takes me effort to find a group for champions on Isle to get those Valor points. It just doesn't fucking happen. Final point I wanted to make, and I wanted to make a point. I forgot what it fucking was. I'll keep watching and hope I remember it.
We really like to reward the player with these sort of epic moments, even early on, to sort of remind them.
Oh, that's what I want to talk about. So these guys are aware that having too many zones makes it so that zones become basically not visited, not walked through by high-level players. Kind of like when you go from doing Stormwind quests, the only reason you're coming back to Elwyn Forest for any situation is to duel or to have RP sex in Goldshire if you're on Moonguard. There's no other reason that you'd be coming back to Elwyn Forest as a max level player unless you actually want to do this too, or maybe a couple other things, or you're like farming up, like herbs or something like that for a new profession. So what they're going to be doing is they're talking about how they're going to have you level through less zones, but have you come back to them as you got into higher levels, and the zones would change. I don't know if they're going to do phasing. I don't know if they're going to make it so that you have, certain areas of the zone. It's a massive zone, but it's partitioned off based on if you can fly, if you can take a taxi to the certain area of the zone or whatnot. But they're saying we're going to have it so that the zone is traveled by players multiple times, at least twice, while they're leveling up. I think that's cool because it basically means smaller world, but you can have a better story progression through said zones. Well, going to new zones is fun. You like seeing the new environment. You like seeing the new art style. You like seeing the new stuff. But the thing is, it's really wasted space for those MMOs. Like, it doesn't feel like an MMO. It feels like you're literally in some desolate island where you're the only person fighting said monster pack. You're the only person doing said quest. You're the only person doing objectives. And it totally defeats the whole idea, in my mind, of an MMO. It's like, am I playing an MMO or a single-player game that just has a lot of players online at the same time as me? So, yeah, I agree with that. Westfall, if I had to go back to Westfall, fuck that shit. I would, no. Like, you better have crappy Westfall content at low level and awesome Westfall content for me when I get to higher level. If they can promise that, if they can say, we're going to have you do this old content, and then when you come back to the content, it's going to be in a slightly different area of the zone, it's going to be with different quest givers, it might continue some storylines, and it's going to look like a different experience. It's not going to be like the same quests redone. Then I could say it's okay. And also still have a good variety of zones.
Hey, you've come to one of the coolest planets in the whole galaxy. And again, giving them a preview of some of the things that they'll be dealing with once they get to the end of the game.
Those muscles.
All right. So that's Algarok. There's lots of other content there, but we don't have a ton of time to see it. But all of it's very cool. This is Gallerus, which is a 14 to 20 zone. It's basically part of the persistent
stylized. I like it. I mean,
that Algarok is in. So
has dinosaurs like Ungoro Crater.
Different zones. It's all a persistent world.
I know.
Gallerus
His muscles are popping out of his shirt.
A massive Elden device known as the Focus of Air, and so because of that device, this place is racked with storms and wind, and stormy weather. You'll notice that these trees are being affected.
Isn't it crazy to think that WoW didn't have a weather effects system when it launched? Like, you take it for granted, but it adds a lot of character to zones that actually have weather effects beyond static effects, right?
Affected by that wind. The grass on the ground is being affected by that wind. These windmills obviously are being used to generate power. But that sort of sense of environmental
Yeah, well, it wasn't
immersion
fun.
is
I
something
agree with
that's
that.
really important to us.
It was
The
interesting
environment
because it was
tells the
new.
story, and we've got a really talented art team.
Probably my first MMO.
And they do a good job of doing that, I think. Because the focus of air is in Gallerus,
Yeah, I think it really
there's
does
a big
depend that
war
this
going on
the
between
game
the
has to be
Exiles,
fun.
which is the faction that we're
End of the
playing
day,
right
it has to
now,
be fun.
and the other faction, which is known as the Dominion. And so here we have another dynamic play
Some
space.
guys
This is sort
blowing
of a
up over
battle
there.
that's currently happening. And so as you adventure through this particular subzone, you'll have to deal with, making sure you don't get blown up by incoming projectiles. There's
Dude,
these
that
ships here that
sucks.
will fire at you from above. You can use some of those things to your advantage if you're a player who understands how to do that. But again, we keep harping on it a lot. These are really, really unique subzones. Each one is a little bit different. We don't want players to ever get bored or feel that they're sort of in the grind anytime that they're playing through the game. This is Tempest Refuge, which is the major hub here in Gallerus. Obviously, again, very unique looking place. This massive rock is visible from almost anywhere in the zone. This town is also under siege, and so back here in this space, there'll be dynamic events and public events against the other faction that players can engage in if they want to. Down here beneath Tempest Refuge is another completely unique subzone. This is known as Gallerus.
So I guess these are known as these are subzones of one zone.
The focus of air is located.
They might as well be
at the very
separate
end
zones,
of
right?
this. And because of
And
that,
tornadoes.
the winds that go through here are very powerful. And so you have these tornadoes that are just spawning randomly. And if you're the kind of player who likes to do this kind of thing, you can use those tornadoes to get on top of things like these rocks.
So platforming,
If you get up there
platformy
every once
things.
in a while, if you've figured out how to do that, there may be a reward up there for people that figure that kind of thing out. So, again,
I'm assuming this game's
at
not
the
going to
end
have any
this
kind of
valley,
flying
we have this ancient elven
mounts,
facility.
so that's always a positive too.
There's a whole story that takes place
Fly
over here,
hacks,
but
oh my God.
probably one of the coolest things in all of Gallerus is this device. This is the focus of air itself. When you get here and you're adventuring through
like a
Gallerus
penis.
at the beginning of the game, you won't know what purpose this device serves. You'll start to get hints throughout the game of the bigger story and what the Elden were doing here and what they actually use this device for.
I dig it because like there's a lot of lore and stuff like this that they really
and then
went
later,
developing.
once
It
you've
does take a
gotten
lot of
to
work to get a good
Cap, you'll
story, a
come
good
back here,
personality, a
that
good
will
art
spawn a
style,
dungeon
and a
that
good
will be
lore
part of our bigger
all into
world
one game.
story.
World of Warcraft had the benefit of
And
having the
you'll
entire
start to get
Warcraft
the
series
true
and a
story of
decade
what happened
prior,
to the Elden
and a lot of
dangers that they
backstories and a
left
lot of
behind.
character arcs. This game's coming in fresh, and a
This
lot of
is
new
a race
MMOs
that lives
don't really
here on
have
Nexus.
gripping
These are the
MMO
Fulcrum.
stories. They don't
They
have really
were
have
a
gripping
creation
MMO
of the
lore.
Elden who
It's
have
like I
developed
like the
this
game,
sort of
it's fun to play,
barbaric
I like the mechanics, I like to
civilization
raid, I
over
like
the
the
last
PvP.
1,000
But there's no actual
They're
attachment
not
to the
happy
characters and
about
shit.
the
I know
invaders
people
that
don't
have
care
come to
about it, but it
Nexus,
really
and so
helps
they've declared war on everybody.
the average player
and
get
you're
into
gonna
the
have
game.
to come here and deal with them again because we're so close to the focus of air, and the Falcon are also masters of elemental magic. This place is racked with storms. There are storm clouds. There's lightning. The atmosphere here is very dark and foreboding. It's actually telling the story of what the Falcon are all about just through the visuals. And at the very top of the hill here, we have this encounter space where you will face off against the Falcon's
Neither do I.
champion, this creature known as
Just
Briog the
typing shit.
Bonebreaker. So Mike will
I don't
spawn
mind.
Briog.
Use macro hacks. Macro hacks.
And, obviously, very cool looking, very dangerous looking. He's a very challenging fight. This is probably about level 20. And so the power of his attacks is much higher than creatures that you've come to encounter before this.
One problem I have is that
will
there's
have a
not many
different
rooting
series of
abilities.
attacks.
I've come to
Obviously,
actually
we
enjoy
haven't
them
seen
since
these,
Neverwinter.
types of
A
attacks
lot of the
before,
abilities
so
you
Mike
can
is
use. You
using
can
a
move
bunch
while
of
casting, you
different
can move while
abilities that he
using
hasn't
them.
used up to this point.
He's also using HP
We'll see
hacks
if
because you can see his
actually
HP is not going
get,
down.
Get through this
Just
without
the
getting
boss.
killed.
It'd be nice to see how hard
Wait,
things
did you
hit.
cheat? Yeah, you did. Anyway, but the takeaway there, right, is like if we've done our
You like how it
jobs
looks?
as designers, when you reach this,
I like
creature
it.
who's
I like
one of the
stylized
tougher
stuff.
creatures
I
in
think
the
that it
content you've
actually
seen up to
has a
this point,
good.
you will have learned everything
vibe.
you need to know through the
Getting a good
encounters that
vibe.
we've presented to you to be successful and defeat him.
The pink bar is your.
So that's the end of the
probably
demo.
mana bar.
If you guys have any questions, I can answer them for you now. Mike will fly around a little bit and show you guys some new stuff as I'm answering those. So feel free.
Question though, do you guys want to see any more of this stuff, or are you guys good? You don't really give a shit.
Fashion backbone to smash your enemy.
So
you go.
we've had it working in the past because of
we're okay.
programmer removes himself by adding in support for it. So I don't know that we launched with
You want to see papers, please? I'm not. More? Okay, we'll watch a little bit more. Won't be that much. I'm gonna probably do it for another 30 minutes because that's my normal stream time.
Well, you just said promise. That I heard it.
I got nothing to do in World of Warcraft, or else I wouldn't be watching this, honestly. I mean, if I had something to do in World of Warcraft, I'd be doing it in World of Warcraft. I can do battle pets in World of Warcraft at this point. Or I could spam random battlegrounds. I'd rather talk about Wildstar, just to get people informed. Actually, if you get her bet levels, you can actually start playing with me. 5.3 is supposed to launch in a couple of weeks. Like 1 or 2 weeks. If you don't have 85 though, we can't play together. Gal's such a slut.
Crimson Isle, so we went from level 40.
It's gonna release 2013, probably late. It's in closed beta right now.
When you're a dragon artists like Dragon Race, and their first mission here is they have to infiltrate this island.
I don't like the sound quality of this. Where is that last guy's sound quality?
Mission is go blow up the shield.
I'm gonna turn this to 1080p and just
bring it down so
boost it
the
up.
rest of the invading forces can come in. And so there's a little comparison here of
Apparently you can't have fall damage,
your first couple
or he's using HP hacks to not die.
This is a stealth class that can sneak up and kick the crap out of things.
So this is the rogue class. This is the stalker, I think.
So dynamic quests, especially things, they tend to broadcast the theory around them saying like, hey, my ship crashed, I need help, and that kind of stuff. And so let's have some explorer content. Explorers get rewarded. These are people who, it's about a quarter player self-identified.
I don't know. I honestly haven't looked at the combat system. That was 2012 packs. Obviously, that was a year ago. Things change in a year.
And they don't want to get led or stuff. They get hints about like.
I don't know if I can say yet that it's going to be fun PvP or not. This is 2013 right here. So this is all the newest stuff. The newest MMO footage of this game.
And then there's a demon going
Okay.
on, so you need to dodge around all
You
the
okay?
falling rocks and all the debris that's happening to find
Okay.
a little sort of hot
Get a bit.
over here to be able to figure out exactly where to place a sensor down.
After this, I will. Okay.
It's just a sort of random
Get a bit.
example because there's, I don't know how many different, 10 or 12 different missions.
Macking me.
Content on that.
So surveillance, spelunking.
The key though is that you are getting sent kind of good, interesting things. Other ones are, you can unlock a route.
There's actually a thread on Reddit. Reddit had a thread on our games that said, people are quitting World of Warcraft. Where are they going? And this guy's like, I found a good home in Star Trek Online, but where do you guys feel MMO or World of Warcraft quitters are actually going? And a lot of people are saying, or the top comment said, and I tend to agree with this, that people are just quitting the genre. People are stopping MMOs entirely. Like, they don't want to put the time in. They don't want to put the dedication in. They don't want to put the amount of investment in because they're getting older. I'm not getting any. It's just like there's other games out there that offer the same kind of rush without the same kind of time investment of I got to play for 8 hours of my character to do something interesting. Which I feel like WoW honestly did. Because, like, honestly, World of Warcraft, to do something really cool in World of Warcraft, all you really got to do is, like, maybe a couple hours a week to do raids, to afford repairs, afford flasks, afford upgrades for your gear, get your Valor points so you can keep your gear getting upgraded. Nothing compared to what you used to have to do in downtime back in vanilla and TBC. If you're going to compare the experience, it's a night and day difference. But basically, with everyone said, I'm quitting MMOs, I'm going to League of Legends, I'm going to StarCraft 2, I'm going to Team Fortress 2, games that I can be competitive in, games that I can play where I feel like I'm getting a real endorphin rush and getting good experiences, but don't have to put in hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
And we tend to make it so the paths work well together. You always get XP if the path XP. If you help someone on a different path, and soldiers start huge holdouts of a different path, and if other people join in, awesome, they get a path XP for their particular path as well. In this case, we're going to sneak in here and blow up the dish just because we tend to do a lot of stuff in cinematics. We have really good internal cinematics teams, so I would keep doing those neat videos and things like that. All that's internal. We just we enjoy making them, and so that team was originally just did these things in game, but now they do a lot out of game. In fact, we'll show that housing one we just did too.
I noticed when he went in, he had the indicator over his head. Is that
So apparently all these cinematics
like, here is something hidden you can find.
happen live in the game for all players.
Yeah, and what we've done with Explorers in particular is it hints kind of where things are at, usually rather than being like here.
And that they just have the cinematic camera
super secret
set up.
that aren't indicated, things that they literally will just have to discover.
Yes, absolutely. Because what we found is when we announced at Gamescom, we've done like almost nothing publicly since then. Because we're now building up through.
It also might be that, but I think honestly a lot of people are sick of the genre. The genre went from having maybe 10% of today's market size, and all these new people came into the genre, and all these new people are like, okay, I played an MMO, I played it relatively seriously, I got to the level cap, I did endgame content, I dedicated hours and hours of my life, and I sat away and I learned how to PvP, PvE, do macros, do raids, blah blah blah. That that experience does not change much from MMO to MMO. Every game has the leveling curve. Every game has a learning curve. Every game has an end game. Every game has PvE and PvP. Not much changes mechanically between going from MMO, from WoW to whatever WoW's best competitor is,
We went and we showed all this awesome Explorer content, and then we had people, we had press go play the game, and press line, okay, I went in, and then people were like, I explored, I didn't find anything to discover. It's like, yeah,
so it's not really inaccurate to say that people are abandoning the genre just because they're oversaturated with the MMO experience and they want to try something different. Don't fall into Fuji's troll trap. He's a good guy, but he's trolling.
Make it too clear, they don't like it. If you give them something to actually discover on their own, they dig it. Where you at?
This game does have double jump.
Interesting.
I imagine you can kill that giant guy.
He's a member. There's a game called Pinball that we play in housing areas.
This is a stealth class, so you can see him kind of going. They are going to have permanent stealth. In the current state in the beta, they have confirmed that stealth will be a permanent thing for the stealth classes. They were going to make it temporary, kind of like Neverwinters, but now they're making it perma.
With goofy stuff because it amuses us, and we think that it's a couple hundred hours of content to get them from level 0 to level 50, and so if we just were also.
I think they're going to bring interesting stuff, but again, it's all how they do it. Don't expect it to be the best thing since World of Warcraft. It's not. I don't think it's going to be. I think what it will do is build on WoW's failures or WoW's shortcomings and offer a different combat experience. Which, if you go in expecting that, I'm not expecting it to reinvigorate your desire to live and your desire to play games. It'll at the very least, be a fresh experience and a good experience that's been tuned and hopefully tested well.
XP is when you do something that your path generally likes. It's a little vague, I guess. Here's an example. As you level up as an explorer, you gain path.
He doesn't read Noxic, obviously, Tobin. Obviously.
You get explorer rewards, so you get 10 powers, like a jetpack that works once a day, or the speed boots, or a stealth module that you can.
That is the pinnacle of perpetually bad player.
Gives you occasional bursts of awesomeness, especially to help you do the kind of stuff you like to sign up for your path. As a
Fuji, don't make me time you out. You're getting really close to timeout.
So some of their afterwards are like, oh, here's a permanent weapon now you can keep. So you effectively have a new temporary power that you can use occasionally,
Didn't show me anything interesting, bitch. It's gonna show me blank screens of nothingness. Now, part of me really wishes they were actually showing their damn endgame, because this is like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. Okay, I got the idea of combat. I got the idea of how questing works. Oh my god, do you have quests? Holy shit. Innovative.
Playing in ways you didn't foresee in beta or anything like that?
Yeah, we have some thoughts about what to do, that we suspect might be interesting. The paths are based loosely on Bartle's types, which is like MMO research about the main player types.
Right.
But his types were like a cheater, which is
God, cheat enable.
rewarded by watching your bars go up.
Right.
Spoiler alert, that's every MMO player, right?
Yeah.
Progress quest is vaguely addictive. That's why little bars crawl up. And so, for instance, we broke achievement into building achievement, which is settlers building up stuff in the quest hubs and making the quest things stronger. That's a kind of achievement. Combat is a kind of achievement. The explorer is a Bartle's type directly, and that's a.
I can see that being a problem if you just saw that the rock went in front of the camera. If they don't have the actual camera kind of zoom in when you go in front of a thing, that could be hell.
The path XP is a totally different pool than regular.
I played WoW since release. Somewhat on and off in the middle, but mostly since release, nonstop. I played since open beta.
There will be some people who focus on path stuff so much that their path outlevels their
Way too long.
We'll see people who focus on just the level grind, so once they want to get to 50 so bad that they ignore a lot of the path stuff.
Like, I'm all for people trying to reinvent the questing process. I don't think there's anything else you can really do to it to make it any less intolerable. Every game's tried to make it better. Every game is not done much for it. Honestly speaking, what can you really do at this point for questing to make it, like, not a boring grind?
Switch paths?
Short of, like, tuning it for endgame-ish difficulty. I guess what you could do, technically, is, like, D3 style, where you have monster power levels, but that's a very individual, like, your own game, your own experience situation. And you're on an MMO, and it's tuned for everybody, you know, Joe the retard, you know, 2 states away from you, that's trying to play the same MMO, and you, who theory crafts the entirety of the game from start to finish and knows exactly what abilities to use when. Like, you gotta appreciate the fact that Joe the retard's playing the game too, and he might learn what stats to do and what buttons to push, but he might not have the actual ability to do it, because he just doesn't give a flying fuck, or he doesn't want to do it, or he just literally, he's 80 years old and does not have the actual ability to push his fingers that fast because he's just old or whatever. You know, like, he's just bad, right? Whereas you're a good gamer. You're on Twitch.tv. You're probably a significantly better gamer than the average player. I think that, honestly, like, monster power is a good solution to the problem. You can set your own difficulty if you really want to try and have a big difficulty. It increases your rewards. You get more XP. You get more. You get better drops. You get more drops, right? But and you get higher monster density. But if you don't want to have that ridiculously harder experience, you can go down. But the problem is, again, open world MMO, non-instanced, difficult to do.
You know, as an explorer, you get snipery type, scouty type abilities.
If its quest takes 20 minutes and gives a level each, they're thinking about this game being 150 hours till cap, and it's only level 50, which means 3 hours a level, give or take.
Are there some then that are only available?
Exactly. If every single monster is dodge, 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 it's gonna be like Neverwinter. I'm already bored of Neverwinter's dodging mechanics. It's fun. It feels good. It's a really good gameplay. It's just not tuned, and I feel like I'm an idiot. Just bleh. Ability. Ability. Oh, it's right shit. Boom. Ability. They have to really be careful on how they, like, how they put in difficult shit, tuned shit, in the middle of the casual questing experience. It's like, I don't want to claw my eyes out and some difficult content and bleed out of my face because I don't want to have some super difficult content. Cool, whatever. That's you. That's you.
For me personally, or for no, actually been a pretty good breakdown amongst testers. One reason we do the show floor stuff too is, you know, when you guys we get buzz and all that, and you know it's time to start building the hype machine and all that kind of stuff. But we actually track it. Like, oh look, this raises over favor. You know, the core of the team came off with WoW. You know, there was like 20 or so of the seniors and leads on World of Warcraft.
Oh.
jump ship from Blizzard.
So 20 or so jumped ship. If you just didn't hear what he said 20 or so developers jumped ship from Blizzard. I don't know when they did it. He might say later. 20 or so developers are jumping ship from Blizzard. Came to Wildstar. Came to Carbine Studios. 20 developers is pretty significant. Now, when they jumped, what they did when they were there, they could have been fucking interns or QA people for all you know. If they're QA, they might as well not even be developers. Like, depends who they were, right? But, oh, hey, Trahern. Good morning. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Juka. Like, they have to make it so the actual combat has a lot of variety and a lot of, like, something that you can do different that makes it interesting. Part of what WoW does in the questing process is, like, you gotta use a vehicle occasionally. You gotta use a thing in your inventory occasionally. I was bashing on that earlier, but still, like, the fact that you have to use a thing in your inventory, that totally changes how you do a fight or approach an encounter. It changes shit up, which is important for questing.
One of their findings from WoW was that something like 60% of people chose human on the first day, and an overwhelming percentage chose alliance over horde. Why? It's because one side is pretty and one side is ugly, and guess what? Your girlfriend tends to want to play, and then you got to kind of play the side your girlfriend's playing. Right. You know, and that's a little overstatement. That's a little broadly stated, but in general, there was a big people chose the alliance over too much. And then, so what they did is they put PvP stuff on the horde side, and so people then it normalized, but then so all the PvP benefits were on the horde side, people started switching over to the horde, and then you got to flip the switch on the other side, and that sucks. And so this is why when you see our factions, you'll note that humans are on both sides. There's a big hulking race on both sides. There's a hulking race on both sides. You know, we try to have, if you're going to make your choice based on the look of characters, we don't want to have that end up with a big faction imbalance. And we'll get that wrong to an extent. We'll get it wrong by 10% and not 60%. Right.
That's interesting. Did you hear what he just said about the whole faction imbalance due to the fact that the alliance were pretty, and that your friends, your girlfriend, social pressures would eventually tear you over that? Like, don't think about your situation because you might not have had that situation. Think about the meta situation. Your friends, your girlfriend, your hypothetical of those, your friend's girlfriend that wanted to play with him. Did that ever affect you? I can tell you that I know alliances more heavily ruled. He was showing stuff since level 1 that you'd have to dodge that much. It's not as intense, but it's like that was level 17. That's about like 1/3 of the way through the leveling curve. If 50 is the max, right? So what you saw in the last video was about what you expect to have at level 17-ish. I think it'd be terrible, Zanches, because you'd be fragmenting the game even more. You serious, Fevy? You're fucking with me. You're fucking with me. Why would I think about my hand in my friend's hands? Beautiful. I think that's all that they've really, like, I agree 100%. Like, they're talking on a philosophical level about how they want to design the higher level content, but I feel that they can't show it until it's actually tuned and it actually is fully fleshed out. Because you can show questing content and it can be awesome, fleshed out, or alternatively, not so awesome, not so fleshed out, but as long as the concepts are there, it's good, right? If you show people bosses, PvP arenas, anything endgame where the concept is that you're going to be playing it 800 times or 900 times in mass quantities, and it's not basically ship ready, people are going to scrutinize it and probably drop the game because it's that important to a lot of people.
We don't have time, Mikey.
You should probably switch to
Okay. Oh, wonderful. That will do housing. We're a soldier right now, and so this is an example of holdout. Holdouts are public quests. One of the things soldiers do is they start big public quests. Everybody can join in. The more people join in, the tougher the monsters get, or the more of them there are.
So public quests are started by soldiers, which is one of the paths.
Or cheat your way through it if you're a late
So he's doing his public quest, blah blah blah, killing this giant thing,
Exactly, and everybody makes taxi stations all through the zone. What happens?
changing his characters, going back to his desktop, and they're gonna do, I think, housing at this point.
Handle one settler in an area where 100
Let's see.
You'll see them pretty early on. Bring some cash and you are G2G. They'll send you straight to your house to quest rewards. Need some more? Build a mine. Serious perks. Can't log on for a week? Get a buddy to maintain your garden, and they'll get a portion of the reward. Bandits raiding your neighbor's property? Lend a helping hand, gun, or sword, and earn yourself some bounty. Hardcore raider? How about a personal raid portal? With a buff.
How would you balance
This
that?
is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. We are making a big effort to make player housing a major part of the game, and I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it as much as I do. Well, maybe not as much as I do. This is only the tip of the iceberg for housing, but that's all I can show you for now. If you want more info, you can hit us up here or here. Remember, the desert.
This is Wildstar. Wildstar. Yeah, I can't talk.
we were kind of just trying to have an BS attitude about ourselves.
So that's their video, and now they're going into their actual demo of this stuff. So let's see.
And they do this, of course, because then you can delete.
So this is what it's going to be. Basically what happens is they're going to sell you a shard of land. It's going to start out as like a little tent, and it's going to eventually be like a 4-story house that you can fully flesh out. It's going to be like an iPad mini game. In my mind, that's what it is. It's like you got trees. You probably have to pay money or do something to remove said tree. And in the place of said tree, you can build extension to your house.
Houses on the ground.
I really do feel that Wildstar is Titan, and they're just fucking trolling us. It's like, guess what? Carbide and Blizzard team up to do a new fucking RPG. Oh my god.
Got it at such a great price was that it was built on top of an ancient pet cemetery, and therefore there's haunted creatures of various sizes.
You better water my garden, nigga.
Where you can actually,
I forgot one name. God damn it.
you get housing, and this is actually the end boss, particularly of that, is our little phantasmal, our phantasmal skeletal guy.
Okay, so when you actually get the land, you have to kill a guy. Whatever.
I come from UO.
I'm really hoping they don't go the cash shop way. I hope it's all earnable in the game itself.
And in UO, what you would do is you pile stuff outside your house.
No one's confirmed how it's going to be paid.
60,000 objects outside your house, and people would slow to a crawl as they approach, and then you would kill them and take all their stuff. And so we like to avoid little player abuses we know about from past games. And so that's why we have, if you want to know why we have book system outside, that would be why. Because inside your house, you have free place, whatever you want, wherever you want, fully drag, drop, all that good kind of stuff. We have a pretty good
I love Ghost Crawler.
what the
You take that back,
standard
Fetty.
sell you for your house so that
You take that
it's
back.
convenient to be able to just be like, okay, I like blah, 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 as you play stuff. The more interesting things, some you can buy for gold pieces, but the more interesting ones are found on everything from dungeons to raids to inside the game kind of stuff. We want you to earn the stuff on your house so that yours is unique. If everything were available for either real cash or for gold pieces, then everybody's house would tend to end up being about the same. We like variety. We like players that
Okay, hold on. Listen to that again, guys.
inside the game kind of stuff. We
Listen to
want
this.
you to earn the stuff on your house so that yours is unique. If everything were available for either real cash or for gold pieces, then everybody's house would tend to end up being about the same. We like variety. We like players that love expressing themselves. First day we did a team test of housing. We were about 100 people at the time. 64,000 objects got placed in the first hour of the test. Just decorating the house, just with
Okay, so he said he does not want to have any of the items in the housing be cash-based because it would detract from the variety because everyone would have the same looking houses because ostensibly you'd probably buy the same pieces that look the coolest or I don't know. I don't know how that would work. I don't know how that logic connects, but the point in my mind, what he's trying to say is you have to find what you're going to put in your house. You have to find that chair. You have to find that wallpaper theme. You have to find that door. You have to find that rug. And based on what you find in the world and collect in the world, you will actually be able to, or what you earn in via quests, you'll be able to put in your house. To me, that says that partially if it's quest related, it's going to be everyone in their house has the same rug from that one quest. But I mean, it's better than saying, okay, you have to buy it in the cash shop and pay money for this thing, right?
core that had no effect actually on gameplay.
Oh my god, Dance Studio, yeah.
And so we do a ton of that. Kevin Side will show us some of the free form.
Do you have any rough number on how many customization options there are?
You pop up any interface that shows any of the customizations and all. How much we'll ship with, I have no clue. It's as many as we can cram it in. during, here we are pre-closed beta, we have this much from the vendor, for just stuff that is placeable inside the house. There's about twice that for stuff outside the house. There's, I guess, about 100 bucks or something in the list for the facilities outside. It's a lot. And then it's wallpapers and other set of stuff where you can change the wallpaper.
And apparently you
change
can
the floor colors, you can
make
change
it look
the
like an idiot placed everything by rotating it like an idiot.
Right as I say it, real time like a video. The, how about this wallpaper? Oh, the
Yeah, Blizzard might be able to show a different, might be able to show Titan,
You
maybe.
should make it like 4 times as expensive since it's further start people, but I'm sure they wouldn't license their image.
You don't want to know Second Life.
A couple of gold.
It's scary.
And then within that, you can just kind of click where you want and it sticks there. So the interface has gotten good over time, so it's pretty natural to do it.
If they don't have some kind of preview what you're putting, I could see that being a total pain in the fucking ass. Okay, at least they allow you to move it freely around the place, forward and backward after placing it, but yeah.
Back in the UO days, you take like sacks of cloth and pieces of coal, build like a huge fort that is ginormous with all sorts of facilities and things that create.
So he made a rusty playpen. This is what Gal's excited about. She saw this, she's like, I want to do that. So this is kind of like up Gal's alley.
Versus the I'm going to chain up a bunch of plush animals in the basement.
I speak Japanese, yes.
Apparently is a fan of. The
I keep my stream English because my viewers are English speakers, but I can speak it.
We want this to be your home. We want this to be where you log in and out each day. So that you go adventure, and then you get, oh, it's a nice little desk actually. I haven't seen that before. You're deleting all your stuff. You throw up a window real quick? Probably already on it.
So these trophies,
I don't know, I can't read the windows. It's cool that they actually have windows and lighting effects on the outside of the house from the inside or whatever, but meh.
And
So,
sort of like builds up in place.
the make shit.
We can deform the terrain. There's not actually real trickery around this. We can deform the terrain. We can.
how do we go there? How do we check those out? Because I imagine it would be overwhelming just to go to a general housing area and have 400,000 open plots.
So in general, what you do is you take your house key and then you create an invitation.
Okay.
And then you can back that invitation as an object. And so you could put it up on the auction house. You can hand it to people. You could, any way that you can.
Okay, so you can invite people to your housing plot. You can have them hang out with you. Is that a maze?
Making a little hedge mage and having little creatures, rare creatures that spawn in and give you different achievements and drops and that sort of stuff. Take a little toughest jab at it. The achievement, you've defended your hedge. Which lost those.
That's the most pointless achievement I've ever seen in my life.
So there's something I should do. Other stuff here, like this is a raid buffing statue, and so it gives you a long-term buff. Because what we want to do is have raiders either go from house to house and buff up using all statues, and then use a raid portal on there.
They want to have raiders go from house to house to buff at different statues. So your entire, I mean, if it's like 3 or 4 buffs, okay, whatever. Like you have like your excuse me, your dedicated buff houses that are gonna have these different buffs or whatever. But could you imagine having to fucking go to different people's houses before going to raid? I teach in Japan because I live, or why do I live in Japan? I teach here. I work here. North Korea, best Korea. But if they allow the raid portal, one of the actual debates going on right now on the Wildstar Central forums, which I actually have been on all week. I don't want to say it, but I've been like forum trolling for a long time on that forum now. I never played. Well, I played Star Wars Galaxies, but never played endgame on that game. I had to quit because it was too much time. I didn't understand it. It was ridiculous. I was so lost in that game. I was like in fucking middle school. Anyway, back on topic. What was my topic? Fuck. Oh yeah. So, I think I was talking about buffs. They're gonna allow people to buff to a raid portal, or allow buffs by using a raid portal at a person's house. Now, one of the debates going on at Wildstar Central forums is people are saying like, "Oh my God, I can't believe games are making things so easy to get around. I hate flying mounts. I hate portals. I hate teleports. It makes the world feel so stupid at instance." It's like, I agree with that. It really kills from the sense of open world when you can immediately go from A to B. And totally negate any kind of like, I need to plan ahead, I need to do something. Having downtime between me logging in and me getting to the raid actually is not bad. I'm in Shrine right now. I like the flight. I actually really do enjoy the flight from Shrine to the portal to get to the actual instance. It's fun. Why is it fun? Because I get a chance to kind of check my inventory, make sure I'm doing things right, make sure my talents are all set up properly, talk to people in chat without feeling like I'm like, not fighting or not running somewhere. It's automated running, and it feels like I'm actually part of a real world, and I'm like seeing the scenery as I walk by, right? You get a chance to piss, exactly, right? It's important to have that kind of stuff. It's also important to make sure you're not doing something from like fucking, Eastern Plague Lands to the southernmost part of like Aldum, because if you have to like, fly to the port, take the boat down, and then boat to the flight path down to the bottom of fucking Aldum, run to the quest giver, terrible. Don't do that. But saying it's like, 3 zones apart or whatever, it's good to have it, right? Oh, shut up, mages. Don't even want to hear it. But anyway, yeah, I don't really know what to think about the buff and a portal at your house thing, or buff at these statues.
That's among the socializing and among the time with external content kind of stuff.
Show some content, goddammit.
The hooks you can sort of see some of the.
I never played Star Wars Galaxies though, to that extent, to the point where I was actually using buff systems in that game to do content.
Garden, there are little plots of dirt. You go chop up herbs and whatnot in the wilderness. So yes, in the sense that it's unrequired, you can't control it. It takes
You can decorate the outside of your house like he's doing right now, putting windows on it.
We haven't turned any flying mount stuff yet, but we'll go around and like.
Apparently you can't make windows look stupid. There's a mount to get around the world.
I would suspect that things will experiment in the future would be things like the stuff you can buy from the housing vendor is cheaper for settlers. We tend to do things with costs more than with hard you can do this or you cannot do this, because it sucks if you made a choice at the beginning of the game that permanently games you later. It's never fun. So when we do like racial abilities and things like that, instead of it being you have a escape for PvP ability because you're a gnome, so you are smart because now you're good at PvP. You're a troll, you have +5 to throwing skill, you suck at PvP, and then you need to rebalance it later. This is a little too example. What we do is, here's the other abilities you can buy for points later, and here's a strength-based one. You're a Granok, it's very cheap to buy it. You're an Oran meter, so you're in an agile race, so it's very expensive to buy it. And that way, you haven't permanently gimped yourself, but you might have set yourself up for more work in the Elder game to earn the points to be able to unlock the abilities and that kind of stuff. And so,
okay, interesting. So I didn't really catch that previously. So apparently they're not going to have racials, and they're not going to have things that are actually gameplay affecting that are locked to a specific race. If you guys didn't hear what he said you're going to have abilities that are going to require points to spec into or points to access, right? That when you actually want to be better at PvP, have less CC, have more CC immunity, have better, farming skill or whatever, you're going to be able to invest points in. But if you're a certain race, you have to invest maybe like 2 points, whereas if you're going to be a different race that would normally not be good at that, like you're going to be this giant rock guy. Rock guys are not very good at farming. They're going to be able to put in, or they're going to have to put in 7 or 8 points to do the exact same ability. That's interesting. I don't know how you balance that, and I imagine the rock guy would be good at, combat, versus the other person who does farming would not be good at combat. It seems interesting that they would do that.
that's the kind of
Don't know how you balance it.
we like doing the settlers would be this is cheaper, more expensive, or it's actually
One wheel and one hover bed.
You got
The
the
fuck?
set of blah items in your house.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking when I saw that motorcycle.
Kind of thing we haven't done.
It's fantasy. What are you going
Is
to
it
do?
possible to do multiple plugs of the same thing?
Yes.
Like, for example, we just want all gardens.
Yes, that is a likely thing to point out in our design thing.
Oh, interesting.
Probably there will be some bias on that, where there's some things that are in sets where you can't, it's unique to a plot, so you can't place 8 wishing wells that are very powerful.
Right.
I would expect we do that someday. We have not actually done that to date, though.
So they will allow similar plugs, similar plots. So you might be able to do multiple buff plugs at one person's house, but they might limit it as well.
And so in one plot.
Oops, I didn't mean to do that. What did I just do? I think I just fucked something up. Fuck. Where was I at? I want to pause this really quick, guys, and go bio. You can watch the video for a little bit. I'll be back in 30 seconds, but you can keep watching.
Multiples of them over time anyway, so maybe that's not a reasonable time.
Are there new plots like unlocked as you level? As far as
I don't want to say plot because it's from there, but
Plugs.
Plugs,
Yeah,
yes.
plugs.
You unlock plugs over the course of getting your house. In today's build, I think not, but that's the in the design that we're implementing towards.
I guess maybe limited number of plugs you have in your plot.
I don't know. It'll be however many we fit that feels like it looks good and it's the right amount. Anything's adjustable, in terms of making sure that the amount of land you have feeling right, the number of plugs you have feeling right, all that kind of stuff. Beta is kind of the answer to all that. Being pre-beta is like how many real players going in there and saying this sucks and this doesn't suck. Well, they say that now actually, but on forums and things, but they haven't played the game yet, so the feedback is a little more timid as people actually play.
When are you guys thinking about releasing?
We're aiming for this year, actually. We're aiming towards the end of this year in 2013. If we stay on our schedules and stuff, that's what we'll do. One of the things the blessing and curse of it, though, is we listen to feedback, and so it's dependent on player feedback. Players come in our beta and throw up all over themselves. That affects our launch game. If they come in and say, "This is the best thing ever, charge us now," and start throwing their money at their computer screens, then that has another impact.
Speaking of money, are you guys going to do subscription or free play?
We will talk business model in a month or two, would be my guesstimate. So we have a good idea of it, but we haven't publicly talked about it yet.
We have about 5 more minutes. So last questions.
Cool. This has been a good question, Drew. I like the smart questions.
I have pressure on us.
What's that?
You put pressure on us.
I know. Come on. That's question
Well,
we can fit in 5
I know
minutes.
I've heard whispers here and there from people that you guys are aiming, and I know you have a team formerly from WoW and all that you guys are aiming to really fiercely compete with them. Is that still a goal, or are you just looking to coexist? Or?
I'll tell you the God's honest truth on it. I don't care if we pull a single player out of WoW. And let me put math behind that. Good games churn 10% or so of their users a month, and they reacquire however many users. Call it 5%. So WoW's been churning 5% for 8 years. If you do the math, 5% means every 20 months you've churned out your entire player base. You recapture them, and blah, 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 but statistically it's actually true. What this means is that every 20 months, every 2 years, there's 3 million new people who used to play WoW who don't currently play WoW, roughly. And certainly if we said, well, half that's recapture, it's still millions entering the market. And if you think of your friends right now, I guarantee you have a rare friend who's played an MMO who's not played WoW, and probably 10% of them are currently playing WoW. And that's what the numbers about work out to be. And so WoW's not failing or anything. They got millions of subs in there still, but they have churned so many people. This is why you're seeing games come out and selling 1 million boxes, 2 million boxes, 3 million boxes, and having a hard time retaining is because a lot of people want the next big MMO. But people, either your leveling game can suck, or you don't have enough to do at the top level, or you don't take the time, you don't polish. There's lots of reasons to lose those. The retention is tough. But I literally don't care if we pick up a single WoW player. If there's 2 demos I would like, it would be people who played MMOs before and are bored and are waiting for the next big thing, and it'd be people who never played an MMO before. Those are much better user bases. It's so hard to pull people out of games they love.
Right.
When pull a user out of EVE Online, no, they freaking love EVE Online. Let them love it. I'll go take the 20 million people who have played MMOs who are bored over the 5 million who are currently playing them and love them.
Sort of what you guys have a pretty experienced team as far as building MMOs. What would you say is the biggest mistake you're trying to avoid, or the biggest thing you've learned from that?
Failure to launch.
What's that?
Like failure to launch.
That's not a bad one.
I'm back.
I don't know. I mean, the biggest.
Curious
biggest
pants.
I see out there is lack of is the amount of neglect.
What about my pants?
Where people say, "Oh yeah, we're going to launch the game. All we need to do is launch a patcher, and then everything else will go in after the game launches." Kind of bullshit. That doesn't really work that way. People make their decisions pretty short, in a pretty short time frame. There's certain key points. You roll the numbers. Because I've worked on like 10 or 11 MMOs or something at this point.
My pants? I'll show you my pants. Hold on. That's an easy question to answer. Cam only. My pants. Have Mickey Mouse all over them. Ha. Ha. Anyway, back to this. Nah, he's just like smiling like a dick. Just troll face, smile, Mickey Mouse.
And you roll the numbers in. If you can get people back to 3 play sessions, their average lifetime jumps up to around 60 days of stay. You get people to stay for, if it's a subscription model, you get people to stay for 32 days, average lifetime jumps up to around 9 months, depending on the game. Someone's 6, someone's like up to 14.
What did I miss?
But people stay a long time. And why 32 days? They've gone through a billing cycle. They put in that credit card, they said, yeah, this game's pretty cool, I'll keep trying it. Bam, average lifetime jumps way up. And so the question is, how do you get people over this hump? You know, get people back for 3 days, back in the game, fun, early, and make leveling feel like, okay, it's not going to be this massive grind. You get people through 32 days by keeping the promises you made to them in your pre-launch hype, by having a good closed beta that's polished, by having a solid elder game at the top end, and by having your leveling game not be like suck and get boring at 30 or 40 when you ran out of time to polish your content. Those are the kind of things. So it's probably more specific than you want, but it's pretty damn accurate about the kind of things that are commonly screwed up even by very smart people, even on some of my best games. So there you go. So that's one of the things we're trying to do.
Once you purchase something, can you always go back and add it? Or once you get rid of it, is it gone?
You can crate it up and then build out of the crate. And it's the easy way to sell, house with a bunch of stuff in it. That kind of stuff is sell it well if it's created sort of contents. So we'd like to have there be a little interior deck.
Miss Arrogance. What do you say was arrogant? I didn't. Here are some examples. Dude, the guy's a fucking neckbeard gamer. Love him, but I mean, honestly, have gamers ever been known for their fashion style? I don't want to have to rewind and make you guys watch the same arrogance again. So if you guys can summarize. Making character with the neckbeard? No, it's not bad at all. Just realize what it'll make people perceive you as. I can't help it. It's so loud in the thing, and it's right under my microphone, so it's really loud. it's yummy yogurt for that. Okay, watch. I shake it here. You can hear it perfectly, right? But if I shake it over here, can't really hear shit. Oh, obligatory. What did he ask? What was asked to him? This is from yesterday. I just never drank it. I have to drink it before it gets bad. So it smells good. That's good. I'm not fapping. I can't fap out here. I wish I could fap. If you know anyone who faps like this, they have fapping. Aww, cute. With his wife and or girlfriend.
Class to bring up, not through any game systems, but just through player skill. Some people can actually decorate their house well. But some of our artist houses just have those pretty benign. It looks like something exploded with a bit.
Anything else we can really look at right now? So what's this? More shitty. I recorded it on my webcam. It has no fucking voiceover. Actually, I'm just curious. Okay, this is a real person playing the game with real HP bars. Because you see his HP bar is actually pretty low, and he's dead, I think. Yep, he just died. So this guy actually died. How does he res? What's that 59 on the bottom right? Can you pay to res on the spot? Hope not. That would suck. Oh, you get a shield. Oh, that's what that blue thing... Okay, so now that I actually saw this thing on God mode, because they fucking always show people without God mode, that green part is your actual HP, and that blue part is a shield. Now, that's kind of cool, actually. I like that. So what happens is they probably eat through your shield, and your shield has an actual recharge that you can do in combat, and then the HP, probably like a fucking fighter game where it's like, someone hits you, it's the red bar, and it slowly inches up, and as long as they don't hit you again to get rid of that red bar or that little buffer bar, it can eventually replenish. So you can technically fight probably at full HP, have no downtime whatsoever, assuming you keep your shield at full. That's kind of cool, actually. Hold on. I want to see how this guy actually attempts to kill this guy. So hold on. Let's do this quest. Fighting this monster. I would like to see that one hit that he did got rid of 1/2. Okay, so now his shield is gone. It's not replenishing itself. And his HP is going down a lot faster than he's killing it. This is where he dies, I think. He's in the red. He's using cooldowns on it. 15-second cooldown, 9-second cooldown, 8. He's trying to get away from it. Got out of the telegraph, rolled away. Evade X1. And you got an evade buff there. You can see he just got a buff that he didn't have before. When he does an evade buff, he gets like a damage and or speed running buff. He's using abilities. If he gets hit one more time, he's dead. Auto attacks still do damage. Okay, he just got hit auto attack. He's running away. It's almost dead. He's almost dead. It's actually a pretty well balanced low end fight, and minus the one time he got nailed. Okay, so what is that? So it just went up to 59. What does that mean? Is that his currency? I think that's his currency. I think you can buy it. Two, 1, 0, and it says wake here on cool. Okay, so there's like a cooldown to actually wake at the thing, and you automatically get released in 5 minutes. Otherwise, you go to the blah blah whatever it's called, the hollow crypt, and you have to. Oh, you don't have to run back to your corpse. It literally just puts you back into living mode, away from your objective. You can't even continue. So that gets rid of the idea of being able to, like, you know, res in a vicinity around your body or whatever. So continue the demo. I don't know, what is the, what do you think is the ideal way of dealing with reses? The fact that you can like continue moving through a cave, or if you fail, or the fact that, you know, I don't know, like you die halfway through a cave, you die and you res and you run back to this halfway through the cave and you proceed to continue the cave. Hey, I'm Soxy, what's up? So you prefer running and durability loss? But you know what's funny? Prior to WoW, people enjoyed or thought that it was more MMO manly-ish to lose XP upon death. No one liked it. It was never a fun experience, right? But people said it made the game, it made the experience more visceral. You felt like you really, like it really mattered when you died in the game, because you could lose your items or you could lose your level and stuff. But you can see my schedule down below. Xanthus under the video. Well, people were like, when they said WoW, when WoW came out, and it didn't really, like, you know, it was around this part in development that, you know, Wildstar is currently at, they're like, that's the shittiest thing ever. I wouldn't play a game like that. I want to have my levels and my deaths mean something. I'm not counting the fact that your time and running back actually counts or something. I think they might change it. It might just be a temporary thing where you get res at the hex thing and you have to go back to your corpse. I'm sure they'll take some beta feedback on it. If you end up getting into this beta, by the way, which they're taking beta applications now, then, like, I'm sure people will eventually reason with them if it feels bad. So this is actually a non-God mode player playing this game. He looks pretty fucking terrible at it, but I mean, kudos to him. He's actually trying to show the content. I do like that idea that the shield actually, see, like the shield that replenishes really fast, whereas the HP bar is like bleh, and it seems like it's replenishing itself in combat. That's one thing I wish WoW did, because like everything in WoW is very binary. It's like you lost HP and you're injured, or you didn't lose HP and you're not injured. There's no point where it's like a buffer for oopsie poopsie, I got hit by something, or what the fuck ever, I accidentally got nailed by something, and I can't fix it myself. I have to actually dedicate a global cooldown. I have to dedicate an ability to it. I like the concept of like, oh, well, I messed up one thing, I messed up a big thing, and I didn't get out of my shield area, so I can just replenish it in combat naturally, not stress out my healers. My healers will worry about when I actually lose HP. Yeah, whoopsie poopsie. Deal with it. It's my phrasing. Yeah, but unless you're the actual priest casting said shield, you can't actually shield yourself. The fun in it is that when you're doing solo content, which a lot of people do, myself included, you can play more skillfully by playing around how much shield you have and not have the downtime. But if you do end up getting around a content that actually hits fucking hard or has the potential to kill you, if not played smartly, and at a full HP enemy, like a really big enemy, a really big dinosaur, or a really big elite monster, you know, like, I fought some small guy, and my shield replenished, and now I'm able to immediately engage big elite guy after my shield's back. With the raid, I'm assuming in raids it wouldn't be as big of a deal, because in raids, I'm assuming that your HP bar will be a lot bigger than your shield. What's up?
the TV show?
Sherlock. I never played either. I played Terra up to like level 5. At the time I was playing World of Warcraft pretty seriously, so I never really bothered getting too high up in it. Rift? I don't know. I never touched it. Ask Towley. Let's see, if you ask me, this is more interesting to watch to me because this is an actual person playing the game without any background knowledge or, like, you know, lore knowledge, expertise, any kind of, like, you know, they have no fucking clue what they're doing or why they're doing it or how to do it, and they have no cheats enabled, which is, in my opinion, a lot more interesting to watch than watching some dude who demoed the game 4,000 times for different press people. So this time he's playing some other class, I think. He got kicked out of the game. He got a mission unlocked on the bottom right, as you can see. It seems even in this game, you just basically run through the quest text. It's like, I don't give a shit. Capturing a monster. And it's his. And what's he gonna do with it?
You do know that it's an hour and a half long, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch it all night.
Yeah, that's fine. I stopped halfway through last night. And then he has to put it into a sacrificial thing. He's clicking it. Like, what do I gotta do? Oh. He's doing something. He's hitting it with something. He just nailed it. He one-shot it. And now its soul is going into something. And now it's getting nailed by something. So one hit that's about what? It looks about to be like about 5% of your life. Getting hit 3 times in a row, which he just did. Hit him for about 15% of his life, so... Oh, he's not gonna get out of the way in time, is he? Wow, he just got fucking nailed. This guy's bad. Seriously, that guy just got fucking destroyed. He's not even trying to dodge. He's just standing there. He's eating everything. Seriously, what are you doing? Oh, finally now he knows how to... He's not even attacking it. He just... Okay, maybe he's trying to charge up an ability. He's using like some... He's trying to use buttons that aren't available. And now he's using one that roots him in place while the thing is a ground effect. This person is like worst player EU. Oh, he just killed one. I don't... Okay, he completed it. So that in itself was like the quest monster. So I guess it was kind of harder, maybe. Oh, no. Monster number 2. He got some HP back, but he's engaging this monster with like, you know, 50% HP and no shield. Maybe he's actually learned what the fuck he's doing. I can't help it. This guy is bad. Like, honestly, come on. Like, this guy's spamming. You can see the buttons. He's like, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. He just engaged 3. He's doing something. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. 6, 6, 6, 6. Like, you can see him spamming the button. And it's like, it's on cooldown blatantly. And he died. Oh, you can res right there. Oh, it costs money to res on the spot. And he failed the quest. And now the guy's not there anymore. Did he just like say, fuck it, I'm not gonna do it? And I think he just quit. Is he continuing the quest or is he just quitting entirely? It seems like he has 3 balls in the middle, orb things that are red and do something. Honestly, this is more interesting to me than watching the guy introducing the content, because this is like an actual person playing. I like watching actual people try and interact with new games, because it's like, this is how a lot of people are gonna be, and if Bob can't play a mage, can't do this quest, a lot of people can't. Like, we are different. We are arguably, since we're actually like watching streams that do stuff about video games, we are not like most gamers. So watching this poor guy suck at this quest makes me kind of feel sad for them. I'm surprised this isn't breaking some kind of NDA. Okay, use your dodge ability. He's already at 75% HP. You can do this. God damn. He's just running away from it. He's stuck in some freaking pot. Now he's just running away like a pansy. Oh. He's trying to spam. Okay, that's good. That was good. That was actually good use of that ability. You got full range on it, and you used the entire channel without him being able to actually hit you. You just missed the fuck out of him there. Jumping on some altars. I don't think altars make a difference. I'm pretty sure the monster will still hit you. Yeah, you're still getting nailed. He's at least trying to use the environment. Like, now, kudos to him. He's actually being creative this time. He died. Okay, whatever. He's picking it back up. I don't know why he's trying to kite it. There's no point. He failed the quest. He stepped outside of the instance and has to go do it again. And he just gave up. It's like, fuck this shit. I don't gotta sacrifice the motherfucking cows. Honestly, Juka, though, it does look fun to me, because when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about how I wouldn't suck when I used it and actually would use my dodge bar and my sprint bar, because I know what they exist. Now, the key here is I know how the gameplay exists. This guy probably walked up into a fucking Wildstar booth and proceeded to, although I would say for the amount of damage it's doing to these people, it's like, you just remember, this guy literally just made a character, popped into the starting zone, and is doing these quests, and the monster doing 5 to 15% HP hits on your character from level 1. That seems intense to me. I can't, like, in World of Warcraft, what, it's like, you couldn't die against a monster in World of Warcraft unless you pulled 5 of them and let them beat on you for about 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm hoping that a lot of it ends up being not necessarily dodging, but avoiding ground mechanics. Kind of like mini raid mechanics. And also like allowing you in some basic fights to just stand there and spam on a monster if it's not gonna obviously just kill you. I can agree with you there, Juka. Like, yeah, you don't want to make every single fight like some hyper, gotta pay attention, gotta make sure I'm constantly doing something. If I'm not paying attention for 2 seconds, I'm gonna kill myself kind of content. Because it'll be very difficult to play and watch anything, play and actually do anything on the side, which, like, MMOs are known for, like, playing a lot, and if you're constantly doing something, like, actively dodging and shit, like, good luck. You're gonna, like, exhaust your players mentally and physically just leveling up, let alone, you know, endgame where it's actually gonna, like, kill you in 2 hits. Snared. Spell's still on cooldown. I don't know what cooldowns are. I'm spamming all the buttons that don't have that have timers on it. This monster, he's just hit like 4 times, and it has more HP than him. Poor bastard. It's like, nope. I over engaged. I don't want to fight this guy anymore. Nope. Oh wait. Now he does. He's snaring it. Oh, he's just kiting it. I'm running the fuck away. It's like, nope. 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 Random river lizard, too hardcore for me. Oh, I'll help this random guy who actually knows how to play. Oh, you can actually see when other players do knockbacks. Interesting. Or is that him knocking back the ad? He's gonna get nailed. Okay, he's not actually using his dodges. He's just running out of them manually, it looks like.
Try to impress them by killing a nearby predator.
Okay, so he's doing some random pickup quest, kind of like a pops up in the middle of your quest. Oh god, he's dead. He had like a full 2 seconds to react to that, and he didn't do shit. He just like stood there and stared at it like, indeed, you are doing something really bad to me. God damn. If you're gonna record yourself playing, at least fucking try. I'm honestly surprised he's not using his mouse to, I'm literally at this point honestly surprised he's not using his mouse to click abilities. Can you imagine a clicker in this game? Ugh. If it is, fair enough. I'm assuming that because he's actually recording an MMO and he's putting it up for people to watch, it's not his first MMO. He just is really bad at it. I do like that the mouse is actually movable on the UI, kind of like World of Warcraft, and it's more how you position your character. One thing I don't like about Neverwinter is how the mouse is only usable when you hit Alt or you're in UI screens. I really don't like that. I like a UI that I'm able to click on. It really, what I would say is, it limits your UI significantly when you don't have a mouse to actually use. You have so much screen real estate, and to have it be sucked up by the game until you actually, you know, alt out to be able to use the UI is a real shame, because there's a lot of things that people need to do, you know, almost on demand in regards to clicking things and using things in the environment. No, this isn't Wildstar right now, but I'm talking about Neverwinter, where Neverwinter hides your mouse until you go into alt menus or inventory screens and things, which to me is a design failure, because I need to use my mouse constantly. Clicking chat, clicking items, clicking around the screen to investigate things. I don't like it that I can only interact with things when they're right in front of my character's, you know, field of view, or right in front of my character in general. Way to use that cooldown. So we got a journal of something. I have no idea what that is. Seems like these monsters are really spaced out. I'm surprised. And that these things are like barely tapping the guy, so he might have just been in a really bad area. Because it really seems like the guy is not even bothered. Oh, I think he got still hit or snared. Interesting. Okay, now he's taking on 3 monsters, which apparently is how you're supposed to fight in a Wildstar, according to this designer that was talking earlier. But this guy might not be the best example of how to do that. There's some guys fighting some giant. Oh, bam! Oh my god, he's got 1 shot. Did you see that? Okay, wait. So wait, there's gonna be him fighting these birds, and then there's gonna be a big red circle next to him when he's engaging something else. Wait for it. Right about. Okay, he's watching the people in the corner do it. He's gonna jump away behind him somewhere, and then right next to him there's gonna be this big red circle. He's not even standing in it, right? Bam! Death. And he can't even afford an automatic res. He has to go back to his holodeck, and he's res there. And then I'm assuming at this point he just like, fuck it. I'm done with this shit.
We're doing a little bit new with that. We're not doing it.
Okay. Anyway, guys, it's 11 o'clock. I want to go to bed. But, thanks for watching tonight. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I usually don't, sit around this long just fucking around with, random YouTube content. I think it's important. Oh, wow. I've also been playing. I've been streaming straight for 4 hours and 46 minutes, which means I haven't gotten, what do you call it? Stream DDoS today. It's a first. Ever, actually. Let me just make sure there's no extra scenes being taken up here. I'm assuming they're going to design it around a sufficiently high milliseconds latency buff, or like, you know, not buff, some buffer, because like they do understand that a lot of Australians and a lot of people who don't necessarily live near the server are playing their game. So that's the important part. Are they designing around the fact that people are going to have, you know, 300 plus milliseconds? They said 300 milliseconds was their this assumed upper bound for player latency. So hopefully they actually aren't stupid and design around that. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in this Sunday. I'm going to give away that present to whoever won. I forget his name. Sorry. But hope you liked the little Wildstar preview. I'm going to show you guys somewhere else to go in chat. Go check out... Check out Fragments. He is part of Apex. I think he raids with Pingwing. He's a Feral Druid. He's playing WoW right now. I don't know what he's doing per se. He's at 4 out of 13 HC on his alt. Looks like he's doing Jakun 25 or 10. He's doing 10-man Jakun. So, check him out. And I'll see you guys again on Wednesday. Have a good one, everybody. I hope to talk to you more about what Wildstar is the... I was going to say World of Wildstar. That was not correct at all. About Wildstar and World of Warcraft, for that matter, as the, you know, the weeks go by. Hopefully I get into beta. Hopefully they lift the NDA. I can talk a little bit more about the actuals of it and actually play some of it to get a feel for it. If I don't like it, then I'll just ditch the motherfucking thing because I'm sick of being disappointed by MMOs. But I think that's an MMO that should be on your, you know, your radar at the very least. I think it has some good development philosophies and some good development mentalities, and it has a good approach to it. I think it's really taking what people miss in World of Warcraft or want, and they're at least trying to implement it, and they're doing it in a way that sounds like they actually know what they're doing. But we've all been burned before, so let's not get our hopes too high. And if you're going back to Neverwinter, have fun in there too. All right, good night, everybody. Peace.